says that I'm live now, but then it threw a bunch of pop-ups at me. Couldn't be easy. This is the first time we have done any sort of live since, oh my God, since January. It's been a minute. But on our side, Galen and I have moved now to Minneapolis, and a lot of changes have happened that have kind of prevented the possibility of any real attack on our live project. Currently, I'm speaking to no one. There's no one here except for Disco down here, who is definitely speaking. But someone has joined. Someone has joined the live, and that means that I'm officially on. So, yeah, we ground to a halt with live streaming. It was like, the inauguration, and then I was like not in the mood to talk for a minute, and then there was some travel stuff, and then Galen and I were preparing to move, and it just wasn't really conducive to like sitting down and tackling the whole thing. But now we're settled in our new place, and we have 10 tons of Lupercalia to sniff. So we're going to be doing that in the coming weeks and trying to get back on track. But yes, things are different now forever. So a lot can change in a real hurry. And I'm sure we'll talk more about all of that and how this happened and what will be happening, for us and for the lab as we go on. But that's not what we're doing here today. I just wanted to dive in really quick and do a couple of sniffs for those who enjoy, and figured we would, two of the easiest, how do you crack into like the giant Lupercalia collection and just pick a couple to sniff with people? How do you do it? I figured I would just grab two new things that people would be curious about, and we'd start there. And that is the Serpent in the Lilacs and the Serpent in the Opium Poppies. I figured this would be easy for me because most people watching have smelled snake oil, are familiar with the snake oil variants that the lab produces. And with the addition of lilacs and opium poppies, there's not like a tremendous amount of interpretation, but we could just smell them and see how they smell. So, because of moving across country, I got my own stash of Lupercalia bottles probably later than a lot of other people did who ordered them, just because for a minute there was nowhere to send them. They could not arrive on our side and then be moved. They had to come here. So I had to do without for a minute, and I have not tested these two yet. It's all very new and fresh over here, and we've been having a lot of fun dipping in and tasting things. So for those who might be watching this video and who are unfamiliar with snake oil, and I don't know who that is or what you're doing here, but I'm so happy to have you. Snake oil is our perfumer's signature scent, and the lab's best-selling fragrance, which is just a really beautiful, spicy, resinous incense, vanilla, patchouli, musk concoction that people enjoy, very aged and then also fresh, and then the whole in between. So there are people who order snake oil and then just keep it locked away for years and years until it gets to the exact level of aging that they want it, and then over the years we've done many different snake oil variants. It's a fun formula for Beth to tinker with. So in the Carnaval Diabolique section of our website, for example, the whole collection has like a snake handler section of the Carnival with a bunch of different snake oil variants, and then periodically we've released some as limited editions or what have you. And then I think it was just a couple of years ago that Beth had done the Serpent and the Roses. Was that for a Lupercalia, I believe? And then it was followed later by the Serpent and the Carnations. Both of those perfume oils are now back in the Lupercalia collection. So if you're watching this and you're just like, intriguing, but opium, lilac, not so much, well, I have great news for you. There's lots of snake oil sampling to be had. So we'll start with the lilacs because it is alphabetical. Trying to keep it very simple in these early stages of stepping back in front of a live audience. Both of you, welcome. So for me personally, I had fun wearing the Serpent and the Roses once, but this floral snake oils have not really been my jam. Loved the Snakes and the Berry Sonker fundraiser scent recently, and the coconut cake one also was fantastic. But I have been in this past year on a kind of a lilac scent journey myself, so I'm very intrigued by this. A lot of the ones we've released in the past year have been really gloomy, which I love, like the Lilacs, Dead Leaves, and something or other from Halloween last year, which is still available. In the bottle, this is very lilac forward. Anyone who doesn't know a goddamn thing about snake oil would at least be able to recognize this as a lovely dark lilac perfume. I, as a snake oil devotee, can feel her stirring underneath. It's got like a kind of like I'd say just a breath of like a warm, sweet vanilla. So yeah, already like that's just not a challenging thing for me to want to put on the skin immediately. So it's got that lovely like golden yellow oil that snake oil tends to have, so that's nice. Wow. The description for this just said, spring's first lilac branches dunked in 3-year aged snake oil. So she dipped into the reserves for this. I will say that I like that this is like, seems to be drawing on the less sweet aspects of snake oil. So I'm getting a little bit of that like dry patchouli. It's not that I can't like sense like the sugared vanilla substrate exactly, but overall it's just like a bare hint of sweetness. And this is otherwise like a really impressively dry, elegant lilac fragrance. And then like the dark musks are kind of like taking it down into like a vortex into the depths. What a ride. I'm curious to see, I'll have to, if it changes a lot in the comments, I will follow up and let you know. For example, if the lilac is to burn off a bit and just like leave more of a kind of like a familiar snake oil brew. It is like getting a little more like resinous forward even now as it's drying. I'm gonna let this cook for a minute. It's beautiful. For me, this is like more of a, again, for like the roses, I really liked it in theory, and on the skin, it was like, okay for me. Which is, I'm a rose perfume lover, so I was really curious about that. This seems more it's like working for me better, skin chemistry wise. I'm gonna switch over to the poppies because I don't know that I have like an opium scent. I'm open to the opium. I'm opium curious, but I've never had one that was like the thing where I was like, that's it, I've got to buy it. There might be one where it was like an accent recently where I was like, that's cool, but like anything where it's really opium forward has never really been for me. You just have to accept sometimes that that's just like not what kind of person you are. However, while remaining curious to see what's there. So I'm willing to go in with an open mind. It kind of helps that this is paired with the snake oil, which is something I'm already quite familiar with and can definitely handle. So, and I'll hopefully be able to register the contrast quite obviously, you know, being able to tell the opium from the snake oil should be no problem. And I have the lilac on the skin as a handy comparison. So the description for this says, snake oil, opium tar, indigo poppy petals, plum cognac, and a dribble of laudanum. So there's more going on here than just the opium. Whew, it's like it felt like my eyes crossed a little when I smelled it. Like if someone was gonna chloroform me, I would want it to smell like this. Just to go down, you know. The lights go out and you're just like, oh, well, that was lovely. Wow. It's like the opium quality of this is like very like strong, and yet I would say it's very like smooth and gentle, like the overall effect of it. Like it just has this like deep, endless expanse, but it's very soft and dark. Wow. I love the Lab's cognac note. I've been having great luck with plum over the past years. Laudanum, who can say? Again, I'm open. I guess we'll just give it a try. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to pick out the laudanum specifically. I just don't have the palette. And plum, cognac, opium all might play so nicely together that it might be tricky for me to disentangle them. I really got a lot of it on the skin. Like, I could like moisturize my entire hand with this. Oh no. It's gonna be with me all day. Okay. I mean, it is really beautiful. It's so kind of like imposing and heady with the opium fantasy that I'm not really getting a strong sense of snake oil out of the gate. Again, just kind of like maybe a little bit of that familiar musk and like maybe a breath of the vanilla. But it's really kind of like the opium's jam at the moment. And again, I put so much of it on. They're gonna hear me coming at the grocery store. I'm gonna smell so strongly that it will be audible. I mean, just really beautiful, deep, dark, like indigo color palette. And then it makes the kind of like the more like dark browns of the like snake oil palette. I don't know, like it just makes them seem even darker. I feel like I get a little more patchouli in the lilac one, but that could just be the way it all balances. It's so hard to tell. Wow. I want to commit to trying this a few times and see if this could be like an opium forward scent that I can actually run with and play with. And I guess it will matter most if the people in my immediate circle can tolerate the scent of it on me. That helps. Really, really beautiful. So since I don't really have a head for opium, if I smell this on someone, I wouldn't identify it. I'd just be like, you smell amazing. It has like a kind of like a dense floral kind of crush to it that I'm gonna say might be from the indigo poppy petals, where I actually get a sense of like flowers actually picked and crushed. I'm gonna go back to the lilacs for a second. Still very, very lilac forward. So again, like I've got like this like beautiful kind of swirling darkness and heaviness that would not necessarily be part of a lilac perfume, But again, if I smelled this on somebody randomly, I would not be like, is that snake oil? I like that both of these seem to play up like snake oils, like darkness, which is like kind of my favorite thing about it. Even though it smells very different on different people, and again at different stages of aging. So like I like, you know, it's beautiful that it can be so kind of like warm and spicy and playful at times. But all of the variants that I've really loved have always been the darker ones. They're both such like serious, like dark, grandiose flower combinations here. That's really fun. The Lupercalia series has lots of really playful, um, lovely, sweet combinations. A lot of gourmands, a lot of like really like light flowers, light musks. So it's nice to kind of start off this smelling series with something that's just like of the depths. I think out of these two, I'm really surprising myself. I love the lilacs one, but I think out of these two, I actually prefer the poppies one because it just is softer. The lilac has a bit more of that, like, I want to say kind of like herbal, like edge to it, and like a bit more of like a hot, like a higher pitched, like floral sense, which is not a problem for me. I love it, and I love the way lilac, just because of that, I think like really throws off the skin further. I can smell it in the room and stuff for longer. The opium is gonna wear, it can tell on me, it's gonna wear closer to the skin, and it's just like darker and more mysterious and a little more subtle. So, two very different variations on one very, very loved bee palette fragrance. So I really don't have much else I'd like to report on today. I want to get Galen on here with me and we can dig into these. But we're very freshly moved. We've only been here 4 or 5 days, and all of our stuff isn't going to arrive for a little while longer, and we've just got a lot of settling to do. So I wanted to at least put on a friendly face and step out and break, you know, our many, many weeks of silence and say, we're here and we're gonna smell things and it's gonna be beautiful. And if you're already smelling the Lupercalia stuff and you have things you really want us to get to, because I don't really know where to begin digging into this, leave us some comments, tell us where we should start. I can't, you know, obviously, we're gonna do what we gotta do. I think we're actually still missing a few also. Also, yeah, but if there's anything like you just like think people should not miss, definitely mention it here and we'll get to that. Or anything that you're like really on the fence about and you really could use a dedicated sniffer to guide you through. That could be us for you. So in the meantime, we will just, we got some lunacy, we got some double lunacy we have to launch ASAP. We're working on it actively. I mean, I currently am not, but as soon as this ends, that I will be back to that. So we've got some exciting new things that will be landing very soon, but the Lupercalia stuff has enough stuff in it that we're gonna be chewing on that for weeks and weeks. And then hopefully we'll do a look back at some of the Halloween stuff before all of those scents vanish forever on May 1st. We've got a nice little chunk of time, and if we can kind of keep up our streaming schedule, then we should be able to see you well supported in your sniffing adventures. And with that, I will release you to the rest of your Thursday, and we will press onward and get it done for you. So thank you for your patience in waiting for us to come back online. We're gonna get there. And I guess that's it. Oh, and before I forget, I did make an announcement in the forum and started like a Facebook group for local Minneapolis BPAL events, because we're finally going to be in a position to host some lunacy events here and maybe some swaps or sniff events for folks who are in the Twin Cities area or who consider the Twin Cities area attainable. Because, you know, folks might be willing to come in from all over if they were going to get to meet cool BPAL people and sniff things and possibly buy things in person. Would be wonderful. So we're making all those arrangements. It's going to be very exciting, and you will know more about that pretty much right after I do. So until then, have a wonderful day, and we will be sniffing soon. Bye.